Motorola, all the big players, Intel, all these folks did not want the thing completely opened up because they wanted to be able to license the technology and then keep their portion of the code patented, because it gave them their advantage for their various mobile devices.
So it's a lot of things coming in.
So there's a lot of things. But my take on it is Oracle, they didn't get what they wanted from the JCP, and it wasn't moving fast enough for them, so they took their ball and they ran home. And I don't think any of the parties are necessarily clean on this. If I could say the best thing that would go forward from it is that they would, instead of fragmenting off, that they would actually take their technology and bring it back in and maybe open source it into the OpenJDK project.
Which, it's not ruled out, but they could conceivably do that.
If it's a matter of what's infringing, then the easiest thing to do would just
Take it out.
say, hey, give it back.
Change it.
Open it up. But anyway.
But one interesting comment, the guy Charles Nutter, who is one of the lead guys on JRuby, which is Ruby on the JVM, and he's looked at it and he says that he thinks most of it should be covered by prior art. So, there are a lot of people that are, here's the part about Apache license Harmony instead of ICE-T. But anyway, it's just kind of, it's technology getting kicked around by a bunch of big companies looking to make money, and I never have seen where, for the most part, where big companies really do anything good for technology anyway.
Sort of like big government, right?
Yep, I think so. Well, I mean, the idea behind open source has a much more refreshing and collaboration, cooperation, coordination, and all that stuff. Help each other out, and I've got something that you might be able to use, and you might have something. That doesn't work in corporate America. So it's kind of a very major clash of cultures, I think. But, yes.
Going back to Rhomobile.
Yes.
How does it access sensor data? How can I get GPS and motion and compass?
It's got.
How do you do that?
Oh, I haven't done that yet. But all of the stuff.
And is that the same across the different platforms? Can you do?
It can access any of that.
Through the iPhone, through the BlackBerry?
Going through their, the features and what you can do with this.
Right.
You can do the GPS stuff, and you can do anything that's available on the phone, and the operating system is available through the applications.
Is it like a portable environment where you write it once and you can recompile for any one of those platforms? Or?
No, you know what? It looks like they take into account the different SDKs from the different devices, and it's a combination of their stuff and the SDK for BlackBerry or the iPhone or whatever. That somehow there's some kind of interaction going on that it builds specific to that. So if you create one for an Android, you can't go and put it on an iPhone and have it work. So I guess the lower level layer stuff, it's taking that. That's what amazes me about this.
There's no standard interface.
There's no standard interface. No. Nope.
So let's say you have your
How you
visualization.
develop it.
Right. You put a middle layer in there.
Your visualization, let's say you just made that for Android. Can you just say, okay, now I want that same visualization, but for an iPhone?
Go
Can
back
you just
through the
choose that
GrowGen
drop
setup.
down and
You
you're
go back
done?
through the setup, and you tell it where your iPhone, and
Yeah.
you really have to be on the iPhone to do that. I can't do it from Linux.
Yeah,
But
but
you
just
would
as an
tell it,
example.
for an example, you would tell it where the iPhone stuff is, and it sets up its environment, and then when you run, you say run :iPhone, and then it builds it for the iPhone.
And you don't have to change the visualization at all.
You do not change your code at all.
That's good.
Yep, same with BlackBerry, same, but of course, with BlackBerry, I've looked to see if you can do BlackBerry development on Linux, and it's one of those things where, it's a major hack, and yeah, I managed to do it, and some guy has his blog that says this is what I had to go through to get, so being more Linux oriented, for me, Rhomobile is I just would prefer it was Java, but Ruby's not that hard to do either. There's not that much Ruby coding. So it looks like if you pick up on the HTML, and there are minor differences that, like the ERB for Android, or for Ruby. If it was I think the Java stuff, it probably has a different set of tags, because it's kind of set up to tie in with the Ruby environment. So the HTML is a little bit different than what you'd see in a regular Java application.
Yeah, but in all these smartphone cases, the top tier phones in the smartphone market, it's much easier to come up with a toolkit for the smartphones, especially if it's HTML based.
Well, the WebKit, I think, is the
WebKit
key.
being the unifier there. But it hides, and that's a nice thing about these frameworks, it hides the low-level complexities that are inherent in all these phones. You don't have to figure out, you have to know what the handset is in general, but in the case of, one of the arguments earlier we heard was Apple develops the iPhone and Apple's the only one who does it. Well, it's great for a developer standpoint because you don't have to guess about your hardware. It's consistent hardware throughout. When you start getting into the other types of phones, whether it's Samsung or whether it's HTC or Motorola, they have different component sets and they have different what they call profiles. The two big profiles right now is CLDC and CDC, which are connected limited device capability and connected device capability, which are the two separators really on your phone systems. And if you decide you want to
We're
write
talking
something
just
for a different type of phone,
Watch what it goes through to
it
build
can
the
be
app.
very, very complex. This is for Androids. Java has an SDK for development of Java-based phones, so you can actually develop applications that will run on BlackBerries or other phones. Interestingly, it doesn't run on just kind of the same thing, Flash. Flash and Java don't run on an iPhone. But that being said, most of the other handsets out there, you can put Java applications on. There's over 3 billion, I saw this morning, there's 3 billion mobile phones that are powered by Java currently. 3 billion. There are 9 billion smart cards out there, Java smart cards. So if you're going to do development and you want to try to, if you were to get a penny an app, if you could get it on just a small fraction of that, 9 billion devices or 3 billion devices, you'd be doing pretty well.
I take it back. That's the third time I ran the build, and it took much, much less. So maybe it is a little bit smarter than I was giving it credit for. Because the first time I remember it was at least 10 minutes. I sat there. I was watching, had the football game on, and they played a lot of football while I was waiting for it to come up.
It actually made bytecode in here though.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But you see the .apk, that's the Android application package. Yep. And it pulls in, it has all the, everything that it needs to run. So it doesn't really depend much on the environment, except for WebKit and whatever else you hook into.
And see this again, this is part of this is where it's running it off of the Dalvin VM. So the virtualized computer there, abstracts all that hardware, all the hardware problems that if you were to try to code something for a normal mobile device, it's abstracted away because you only have to deal with the virtual machine where all the components are known in advance.
And then there's the API to connect to those different pieces.
That's cool.
So no questions? That's it.
Well, thank you, Rick. I got 8:20. We can leave early if we like, or anybody want to talk about anything else? Anybody have any questions on anything? Yeah, what's up?
Just throw something. I'm going for my REC this Friday. Right at Certified Engineer.
Yes.
Anybody got theirs? Know any good tips or good things to study for?
Where's Charles Baker when you need him?
Yeah.
Have Paul Friels take the test.
Study hard.
Who else here, or who in here has the Red Hat certification? Well, there's your answer.
Did you go to Greenville Tech?
Certification I have to go to Atlanta.
No, but I mean for any of your training.
No, I did all that myself.
All right, well, thank y'all for coming.
You don't want to share your favorite app?
Oh, do we want to share favorite apps? We can do that.
I don't have a phone, so it won't help me much, but you're the one that's all excited.
Yeah, whatever.
You little schoolgirl.
All the DMs.
Yeah, I have a question.
There are. There are. There's all these different Java versions. I'm logged in all the time. Phones running on Java. They're not all on this Java. So why do they have to come up with Java? Why is that one better or different? 17,000 around Java for that machine could be a little bit different than the other languages, right?